because of that. Anyway, yesterday I was on the phone with her and we were talking about what he does and doesn't do around the house, and what he did not do for Christmas, and what he doesn't do in general, and things like that. And it got to a point where I said, listen, I'm your friend and I love you and I'll support you and I'll be there for you because it's your life, it's not mine. I never see this guy, I don't really, care. But you need to either stop complaining about him and just accept the way he is, or realize that what he this and this is just so wrong and bad, and I feel it's unacceptable. Basically, he doesn't do anything around the house. He didn't buy her anything for Christmas. He got into an argument with his mother a week ago and he's still kind of reeling from it. And I'm like, she's like, but have you ever blah blah blah? It's like, it doesn't take a week to get over. It's like, and so then she's telling me, yeah, but this and that. It's like, okay, well, if he's feeling so bad about it, he needs to call her. Oh no, he's expecting her to call him. I was like, well, that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then she says something along the lines of, he had a bad childhood, which I understand. It's like, okay, so what is he doing to feel better? And she says, he concentrated on his career. I'm like, okay, does he feel better? Well, blah, blah, blah. Does he feel better? Does concentrating on his career make him feel better? Well, kind of. I mean, on that aspect. So the answer is no. So he's not doing anything to feel better. I understand that he had a rough upbringing and that it was rough, but if he's feeling bad about it, he needs to do something about it, not run away from the problem. Anyway, so I said all of these things, and so I made it clear in the sense that I don't agree about all of this for you. I think you deserve better. If you choose to stay with him, that's fine. It's none of my business, but just be aware that I will support you either way. And I think that's the best thing that you can do as a friend, of just don't get too involved, but still be honest with your opinions, of just like, I have another friend where she's also complaining about her boyfriend, less so. And so I'll agree with her because I agree with her, but I won't tell her how bad it is because I'm just like, well, I mean, nobody's perfect. And that's, you know,
Yeah, again, every person has to make their own decisions, and it doesn't matter what, even if you tell them what to do, and even if you tell them what you think they should do, they have to come to that decision
yeah,
on their own. And if they end up doing it because you told them, then that's going to put a strain on your relationship.
yeah,
And I had to experience it for myself and come to the conclusions that I did by myself.
yeah,
And friends do come to me for advice every so often. And I never tell them, why not? Never tell anyone what they should do in a situation. Every person needs to decide this for themselves. And if you're bad at making the decision, then good. You need to learn how to start making decisions for yourself, and just do it. What was my point? My point is that I never tell anyone how to behave or what to do. I just give them my own opinion in a way that doesn't suggest what I think they should do, because I'm not in the situation. I don't really know what goes on behind closed doors. I don't know what extent it is. And you usually hear just one side of the story, and
yeah,
or just a moment in the story. And so yeah, you want to support the person you're talking to. And I have a friend that I'm sad to say that I don't think she with her partner, but she is, and she's well aware of what she's doing, and that's her life, her decision, and she should do what she wants to do. I can't make a decision for her. I can just support her.
yeah,
And I can tell her, look, I want the best for you. I'm worried about you. And I don't like that he treats you this way. I don't like that he talks to you this way. But at the end of the day, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I don't know the extent of your relationship, and you have to do what's true. And again, some people just need to get to the breaking point to learn certain things in life.
yeah. I think excluding the really like physically harming someone, I think that's the hard barrier of like, then you have to intervene as a friend, you have to intervene,
Yeah.
is that, you can't really let that slide. And then possibly cheating. But cheating is
Hmm.
such a gray thing of just different people have different visions of what cheating actually is. And, JT can write to a woman that he knows, and I don't consider that cheating at all. And he'll probably tell me more often than not. He can go for a meal with a friend, with a female friend. Like I don't care. But some people will consider that cheating, and then we'll make a whole thing of it of just I saw JT cheating on you. It's like, what do you mean you saw JT cheating on me? Well, blah blah blah. And those, that's a bit of a gray area, and
Hmm.
it's difficult because you need to be sure that you're on the same kind of definition of what cheating is. Because
Yeah.
this other friend that I was telling you about, she would consider JT having a meal with somebody else cheating on me. And she knows that I don't consider that cheating. And so she knows that she stays out of it. She would just stay out of
Yeah.
it because she knows that she doesn't have the same sensitivity and sensibility that I do, and vice versa. So we would just stay out of each other's lives on that aspect because we disagree about what a relationship looks like. And so we stay out of it.
Yeah.
And I think
Which
that's,
is, hmm
well, I think that's just unless it's hitting, and that's just unacceptable and possibly putting yourself in danger, like driving while under the influence and things like that, like really physical harm. The rest of it is so complicated that you just want to maybe kind of stay out of it, express your opinion, but make sure that that's just your opinion, and that doesn't, that only impacts you and not the other people around you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, just to respond to, like, let's say the example that you gave, I think it's also really dependent on the situation. If he's going out to meal with female friend and he's hiding it from you, and he's not, then that's the, I mean, it's still not considered cheating, but I think the problem would be him hiding stuff and deliberately not telling you and avoiding it, and that's just a red flag and something is going on there and
I
is
agree.
suspicious. That's one thing. Another thing is about opinions. I think I wrote something about this, a brief thing about this in one of my recent blog posts. I think the last blog post, but it doesn't really matter. Um, Opinions at the end of the day, what it is like my opinion is how I see a certain situation or how I would react in a certain situation or how I see the world. And that's based on my views and what's good for me. So I may give you an opinion of something that I would do for myself, but isn't necessarily right for you. So that's why an opinion has to be taken with a grain of salt, because an opinion again is I think it's great to be, single for a long period of time and experience life on your own and to go travel by yourself. And while I do believe to a certain extent that every person should do that no matter their status, another person, it might not be right for them to be single for so long or to do certain things on their own. And it's just my opinion because that was what was best for me.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% agree. And like, obviously, that hiding it from me is key.
Yeah.
And so this friend, this hasn't happened, but I know that it would be how it would happen because she's done it with other friends, where say JT goes for lunch with somebody else, and I'm aware, she would write to me saying he's cheating on you, and she'd become very aggressive all of a sudden, even though I'm already aware, which would put my guards up of just, you need to mind your own business. I'm aware that he's having lunch with a colleague, like, go away.
Yeah.
It's just what's dramatic for you isn't necessarily dramatic for somebody else. And
Yeah.
again, unless it's physical harm, everybody has their own, we can talk about open relationships, we can talk about all sorts of things that are just, you need to be very careful about how you treat these things because not everybody has the same vision as you do.
Yeah. And you may end up just blowing the situation out of proportion. You're saying like one thing that's dramatic for one person may be not dramatic for another. but they can influence you and cause you to make a
Yeah.
drama out of it, and that can just ruin it for you. So
Yeah.
you again have to take things with a grain of salt, and also like with giving advice and sharing your opinion, you have to be responsible with how you share it and what you say, and the other person has to be responsible with how they take it and how they hear it and understand it and what they do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely. Like, and nobody's 100% right or 100% wrong in any situation. And
yeah.
again, communicating and being very clear about things. And
Yeah.
I mean, we say it, probably say it every episode about communication and being clear. I mean, I know that I'm I'm not perfect 100% of the time. Like, I'm probably one of the better communicators there are, but only because I've got so many tools and I've learned. There's I like to think there's something I have innate capabilities with communication, which is why I've chosen this career path. But I know that I'm not the best, and and I'm not the best all of the time, and that sometimes I'm less skilled about communicating my needs and things like that. And I think it's just, as long as we accept that and just try to do better. And I'm not saying that this isn't an excuse for bad communication. It's just, be aware that there's always room for improvement, and there are so many different types of communication and the way people receive information. You just want to be clear and open-minded.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, if it comes to the point where it's too complicated, then it's something's wrong. Communication shouldn't be complicated. I like you should say what you mean, and the other person shouldn't have to read between the lines or shouldn't overanalyze your words. Like we have a tendency, especially as, I'm not going to say women, maybe as girls when we were younger,
Yeah.
we had a tendency to overanalyze and read between the lines without realizing that men, or at least at the time when, you know, I was younger, men just said what they meant. What they said
Yeah.
is what they meant. And we used to overanalyze every single thing they did or said. And so we have this tendency to overcomplicate things, and it just should be easy. Like with my boyfriend right now, not 100% of the time, because that's what relationships are. It's just easy because we talk about things and we
Yeah.
don't talk about it in such a heavy matter. We let it, like I always say, like we talk about it as if we're talking about the weather, because there's nothing, and that's the way it should be. And it's not to say that we don't give it any significance or that we're diminishing the significance. It's because we care a lot about it that we're not making such a big deal out of it, and we're being open and communicating and relaxed and calm, and everything's okay. And you don't need to, when you're in a relationship, you have a common goal. You're not supposed to headbutt,
Mm.
and you a lot of times it just becomes an ego battle, and we want to win the argument. We want to be the ones who are right. There is no right person when you're just having an ego battle, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Is it's I think that's a good way to finish the podcast. Of there's no right person where there's an ego battle. Um,
Yeah, exactly. And you shouldn't look to be right. You should look to work together and understand each other and move forward and move past this and learn for the next time. You're fighting together,
absolutely,
not against each other.
absolutely. Tell us about
Anyway, let us
your
know about your your breakup.
Go for it. And yeah, and how, maybe you've never experienced a breakup. Maybe you're with your high school sweetheart, or maybe you've never been in a relationship. Just, what
Yeah.
are your thoughts?
And is it considered a breakup if you've only been together for a month or 2 months, or 3, or whatever it is?
Exactly.
And don't forget to follow us.
On Pop Culture Cupid, on Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, and that's it.
Yeah, we have a TikTok, but it's not active. So I mean, you can follow us there if one day we decide
Yeah, yeah,
to, lend our minds to the Chinese.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.